Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between Inflow Mini and Root QXC here on Lost Temple. You have Root QXC spawning here as the red Terran player at the 12 o'clock position. Meanwhile, you have Inflow Mini spawning here as the blue Protoss. So it is going to be a Root versus Inflow matchup, Mini versus QXC. Now, Inflow Mini spawning as the blue Protoss player. Gonna go ahead and pull up that production tab and see what exactly is going on in this matchup and try to figure out what exactly these players will be going for. Now, I must apologize. A couple of days ago, I casted a game when I was dead tired, and I had a lot more word salads than I am accustomed to, so I apologize for that. I think some people were talking about wedding guests and wedding registries, and I don't know. I still think the best word salad I ever had was using force fields to protect the intensity of the flavors. So yeah, I do have a couple word salads sometime, but I am a little bit more refreshed. We'll see how this particular game goes. As the supply depot now down, we most likely will see a chrono boost right there, followed by some more probes, and now gonna go ahead and lay down a gateway here in just a moment as this probe now makes its way across the map. So we now this probe now will be able to scout in the clockwise direction and will not be able to find anything all too much, as these players have been spawning in this location here. No one activating the Xel'Naga watchtower, so they will not be able to see them incoming so far. And now as this SCV makes its way across the ramp and goes up this ramp here, both players pretty much not going to find their opponent. We do see refineries and assimilators being placed down by both sides. So refineries, assimilators, pretty much a standard build coming in so far from Root QXC. Nothing too out of the ordinary. There's one refinery there. Meanwhile, back here, Inflow Mini getting that assimilator up and now getting 3 probes onto that assimilator. Should be getting the cybernetics core in just a moment. You can see that those two workers are going to pass each other in the middle of the day, simply ignoring each other and then going along their merry way. So here we now see the cybernetics core now coming in online. Mini deciding to not spread out these pylons nearly as much, and then going to go ahead and make sure that these gateways and the cybernetics core is double powered. So we may get another gateway here, and based upon Inflow Mini's build, he likes to be a little bit more of a tight base builder. What that's going to do, however, is it's going to make him much more vulnerable to drop play. And now we have a Marine trying to take down this one probe. Will it be able to get off that final shot? No, unable to get off that final shot there, trying to micro that Marine. That Marine went off in the wrong direction for just a moment. We now see a pylon being placed on that front door. So that front door pylon here will be able to watch a significant amount of troop movement, as we now have an SCV wandering around on the inside of the base here. So taking off the unit health points for just a moment there, and you can see everything that's happening so far. SCV just continuing to wander around the map as Zealots are now trying to chase down this one SCV. SCV has not taken any points of damage so far as this game continues. Give me one moment. Alright, coming back to the game, sorry about that there. Inflow Mini with the Zealot now making its way out. Will be able to catch up to this SCV. SCV by the Xel'Naga watchtower. Probe now coming in for some damage. Both sides going at it. However, that probe will get some help from a Zealot friend in just a moment. There we go. And now that this SCV down to 4 hit points. We now also see a Stalker on the way out. So the Stalker does want some SCV blood. As the Stalker, cutting across the wrong side. And now there's a Marauder here. So it's going to be a Marine and a Marauder versus those units there. And now focusing down that one unit. There is no concussive shells. Oh, there is concussive shells. So Marauders are going to get some quick and easy kills here. Down goes that one Zealot. The SCV has been taken down. Down it goes. And now that Stalker was never ever hit by a concussive shell, so it will be able to get out of there in a hurry. One Zealot already taken down at the cost of one SCV. Another Marauder now coming out. So Root QXC being very aggressive with this Marine and Marauder push. Will it be able to deal any significant damage? I'm not quite sure, as we now see a second gateway finally being warped in. So Inflow Mini, most likely he was trying to go for more of a macro, or so more of a tech build, but because of the early Marauders of now Root QXC may simply be able to just walk up that ramp, and now in comes a couple SCVs, I believe, no, 2 Marines off of that reactor. So Root QXC now getting a couple more Marines and will be able to push out very, very aggressively. We do see another supply depot coming online, so QXC will be able to continue his production and expanding at the same time. So both sides expanding and being very, very aggressive in this early macro play. Both sides having decent sized armies and also going for an early nexus on both sides. So as these stalkers now moving out, there are a couple of probes here. The SCVs, the Marines and Marauders did decide to retreat just a little bit. Does not want to try to engage against these stalkers. A fair amount of stalkers and +1 zealot. The Marauders, I believe, could have taken down those stalkers, especially with that Marine support. And now looking at the army, 800 versus 600, and QXC deciding to go for a bunker instead. Very, very nice play. QXC knowing that he could not really win out with that fight, and now coming in with an early Reaper. So that Reaper now getting a lot of scouting information, sees that there is going to be a 4-gate push in addition to this one nexus down here. So this may be a 2-base play into a 6-gate. 6-gate 2-base play is very, very strong and very heavy on stalkers. If we do not see additional barracks being placed down by QXC, it would be a problem. However, now going into a 3-racks build and also going into a Ghost Academy. So cutely enough, I'm not sure when exactly QXC played this game, but I did show him one of my replays, or I'm talking about using Ghost Marine Marauders in an early game against Protoss, and he was actually kind of surprised that you're able to keep up such high production. So he may be going for a DGAA build, a Marauder, double Marines, and Ghost. Oh no, going for a Reactor now, so never mind. He should be getting Ghosts there, so now he massed up a lot of Marauders early. You can see that he has 4 Marauders, 5 Marauders there, now going for a lot of Marines. Those Marines have the same DPS as Marauders, so even if they're hitting armored units, so that's one important thing to note, as there are going to be a lot of Marines now being trained. We also see the combat shield coming online, so those Marines also will be able to soak up a lot of damage very, very easily until Colossi come online. We see Stalker Blink, and Twilight Council currently being built. So with that Twilight Council being built, it will allow him to perhaps go into Dark Templars. Dark Templars are a very, very obvious choice in a matchup against a Terran player, especially when he went into a very early 3-racks build. That means that his Factory, his Starport, and his Raven will be a little bit later than normal. He does have double orbital command, so he does have enough energy for scanner sweeps, but will it be enough? Combat shield nearing completion, and now both sides sitting in their bases in order to just macro up and play a game of Sim StarCraft. We can now see Inflow Mini placing down multiple pylons across the map, perhaps knowing that QXC likes to go for a lot of double medevac drops, and in comes that one scanner sweep, able to reveal partially how saturated this is here. A lot of Zealots and a lot of sentries. Those sentries with that Guardian Shield would greatly reduce the amount of damage these Marines are able to do. So it's really going to come down to who gets that EMP Shockwave, or sorry, if QXC is able to get off that EMP Shockwave first. If he's able to get off that EMP Shockwave first, he will be able to deny any force fields, which is very, very important. More Zealots, more Stalkers now coming in. Army-wise, 2,200 versus 1,875 as both sides are ready to engage. The Ghost is now moving out. Very nice by Inflow Mini, making sure not to group all of his... Oh, where's that one force field? Where's the EMP Shockwave? I did not see one. There was the EMP Shockwave there, so only one sentry had enough energy, and both sides continuing to deal a lot of damage. However, a couple of those Marauders are now just simply sitting in force fields, and now finally being pushed back, and Inflow Mini will be able to easily handle this early aggressive play. So Stalkers and Sentries off of a 5-gate was able to warp in enough units, and now quickly going into a Templar Archives with Zealot Charge. So Zealot Charge Templar Archives, that will be very strong. We still see that one bunker here, and now we are going into most likely double medevac. Those medevacs will be able to heal up and heal up a lot of damage on those Marines and those Marauders. If those medevacs were in that earlier fight, I believe it would have been a completely different story, as now Inflow Mini ready to take the gold mineral location here. So it looks as though QXC will be a little bit behind economically speaking. QXC does have a little bit of a lead in economics at 1,800 minerals, but you also got to remember that QXC does not have 2 additional refineries, or is only running off of 2 gas instead of 4, so that is going to be a problem. You can now see more medevacs being trained, a second medevac ready to get going, ready to pick up more Marines. However, there are going to be a couple pylons in position in order to scout that out. So the one medevac currently in the air, does the pylon see it? Yeah, the pylon was able to spot it for just a moment, and in come some Stalkers already warping in there, being able to be deployed straight into action, and QXC decides to back off. We now see another medevac coming in here, so QXC going for his very standard double medevac play. So one medevac testing the waters, forcing Mini to just come in over here, and we may get a feedback onto that. No feedback onto there, as we have one overzealous Marine trying to get into the belly of that medevac over here. One Marine now walking out will reveal itself to Inflow Mini. No, does not see that one Marine right there, as this medevac continuing to move across the map. So most likely we'll get a drop into this location here, as that medevac now trying to come into play. However, gonna quickly get spotted down by Inflow Mini. Oh no, yes, he does spot that one medevac, and now dropping into this location here, trying to deny the third expansion, or the second expansion by Mini, denying that third base, now trying to go after some of those additional units, trying to get some damage there, and now pulling back. However, we have another drop over here, so Marines now using Stim, and in comes a Psystorm, beautifully placed. So many of those units, Marines were taken down, and in comes another medevac. The medevac now dropping up onto the high ground. So QXC trying to multitask and do a lot of medevac play. So we're going to see some Marauders and Marines come up perhaps into that location, start raining down some damage there. However, no, these units are not moving out. Level 1 weapons upgrade, and now we see an Observer now making their way out. So the Observer are going to be able to see this here, taking down this one pylon. Pylon is down. As these Marines try to deal more damage here, we now see a couple of these units, another drop into this location. However, another Psystorm, really well done. So multiple drops into the base, and now QXC trying to fight back against these units here. Zealots now taken down over here, as these Marines and Marauders are just dishing out damage against these probes onto that low ground. Those Marauders do have a range of 6, are able to continuing to deal damage, as there are Marines and Marauders pushing out over here. Zealots and trying to warp straight into that battlefield. However, they are able to take damage during that 5 seconds, so that is a very, very large amount of vulnerability for those units, as more Zealots getting taken down here. And now in comes another drop into this location. Marines trying to use Stim, trying to take down that one Zealot. One Zealot will get taken down. Both Zealots now taken down, as more Zealots being warped in along the backside. So just crazy drop play coming in. Marines and Marauders, QXC doing a very, very effective drops here, as Stalkers now trying to come in as well. So Stalkers and Zealots with that Zealot charge able to close in on that distance, and that medevac able to escape with 57 hit points. One medevac able to escape with nothing in its cargo hold, as one Marine coming over here. This one poor Marine will not be able to get in time to get any medevac support, as a Zealot warps in and takes it down. We now see one medevac off into that location. Army-wise, we now see Inflow Mini sitting at a 3,600 versus QXC's 3,350, and now QXC warping into multiple, or setting up bases in multiple locations. Another base over here at the 9 o'clock location, as this Marine and Marauder army on the move. SCVs also being transferred to the high yield mineral location. The main base nearly mined out. You can see a lot in production from the Terran player, not as much from the Protoss player, but that's also a very, very deceptive, trying to keep the production tab open for Protoss. The reason why is you can see the number of gateways that Inflow Mini has. He's currently running off of 8 gateways. At any given time, whenever he's quote-unquote producing units out of his gateways, you only see it on the production tab for about 5 seconds. So in that 5 seconds, all of a sudden that gateway is on cooldown. So do not just keep track of the production tab, you also need to keep track of his gateways and whether or not any of them are on cooldown. Obviously, all 8 gateways not on cooldown, so he is currently not producing anything so far income-wise. 65 harvesters for QXC. Inflow Mini currently sitting at 63. And this is the middle portion of this game. Nothing really happening so far, so I'll take this time to say stay tuned for part 2 of this replay between Inflow Mini and Root QXC. Root QXC here on Lost Temple.